Good morning! It's Fancy Friday, and as per usual I am waiting for my bus. And so while I'm waiting, I get the chance to talk to you guys, which is great. This is actually one of the highlights of my day. So let's get to it. So today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about software development, money and time. Now, the thing is that you may or may not know this. If you're not a programmer, or if you're just curious about programming, or maybe you just clicked on this video because hey, this guy looks interesting. Hopefully that's the case. I don't think so, but hopefully. The thing is that I need to start off by telling you that you, and I was as well, and in many, sometimes I forget myself, I still do. You are a little bit spoiled, most likely. And what do I mean by that? Well, can't leave you there, right? The thing is that it's not just you. It's most people in the world are a little bit spoiled. And it's not your fault. It's actually, I would say, like the biggest contributors to these issues are companies such as Google and Facebook and so forth. And the reason why I think that you are a little bit spoiled is because you have lost, or rather you don't have an understanding of how much goes into creating something. And especially in this case, software. Or maybe you do, I don't know. But for the most part, at least in my experience, very few people do. And that's a little bit of a problem, because the thing is that we humans are very, very good at understanding value. It's almost to the point where we inherently understand the value of physical products. If you buy a car, you know that it has value. You're actually willing to, I would even say that, imagine you walking down to your car, and all of a sudden you see somebody trying to steal it. Most would probably try to defend that car, or at least call the police or do something to stop that. But if somebody, I don't know, tries to pirate your app, or like if you you would never, that's a bad example, but the idea is that you would never put that much, if you think about it, would you care as much about a piece of software that you have? If that's, I would argue that it's very unlikely that you would care as much about a piece of software. And the thing is that the reason I believe why that is because you have we humans are not very good at understanding things that are not very, concrete. Let's call it concrete. It's the same principle as when, the Red Cross and these idealistic organizations are trying to make you understand issues with starvation and poverty and global warming and all of these different issues that are at the conceptual level. They're not physically happening to you right now. It gets very difficult for us to understand the impact that these things have. It's really only when things get real when we can actually really comprehend what's going on. And the same thing goes for software. I've made another video where, and I think I'll reuse this little comparison in this video, where I basically say that that it's very easy for people to understand that if you ask a builder to build a skyscraper, you understand that means a large investment. It's a big project. It's something large. It's something that's going to take time. It's going to cost you a lot of money. But if you come to, most people don't understand that skyscraper basically costs, I'm not saying just any skyscraper, but think about it this way. Facebook, that app you have on your phone, or the website that you are visiting, to check your social media, try to understand that thing costs as much as that skyscraper in time and in money, actual money. That's what it costs to build that website. So I know this. It seems ridiculous, but that's actually it's actually true, and that's kind of where I wanted to go with this entire little talk of mine, where I'm trying to sell you the idea that we are kind of in a bit of an odd situation, especially when it comes to producing new innovations in software development. I saw a very good talk by someone who was talking about a guy from Australia who had a really nice talk about, you know, his reasons for why his startup failed. And one of the things that he mentioned that really spoke to me was that he said that it doesn't matter how good your product is, because your product is only as valuable as what the people you are marketing it to are willing to pay for it. And actually that's a very powerful thought. The thing is that because we are conditioned as consumers or as humans to believe that software is this kind of cheap thing, or this thing that, you know, we don't really take it seriously. Very few people will actually, you know, actually it's kind of funny, because most people will think twice before, if you go into Photoshop and you see the price tag Photoshop has, most people will kind of go, oh, this is a little bit pricey. But if you think about it, you spend as much money most likely in a single night going to the pub. You don't even think twice about it then. Same thing, I mean, I do it too. It's almost bred into us that software should be free, right? Or it should be very cheap, because it's not something that holds that much value, right? And the thing is that this guy was saying that, you know, you only get as much value as people think something is worth. It's actually so true. I mean, it's actually one of the main reasons I believe that if we wanted to speed up and like empower software developers to make even more advanced application and move things along, and maybe don't tell Google that I said this, and maybe take away a little of the power that Google and Facebook and Amazon have over the world, then maybe we need to kind of change that perception to start to understand what it means to actually build software. And I can tell you firsthand that unfortunately it was only when I started building my own applications and being a programmer myself when I realized how fucking difficult it is, how long it takes and how much effort goes into it. I mean, even today, I will say that the most difficult thing there is when it comes to software development, even when you know exactly what you're doing, is to estimate how much time it will take to build something. Because it's quite literally like, there are so many things that becomes unforeseeable. Usually what this is what's happened, you always think that it's going to start off easy. Every single story, every single task, every single product, you start off by believing like, okay, this is going to be, you know, you create like a mental picture how things are going to go, and then you find corner cases, you find bugs, you find issues. Everything takes much longer than you could possibly imagine for the most part, and that's a real nightmare for all the product manager and the owners out there in the world, and even worse for the programmers who have a deadline. So you do compromises and so forth. But I'll not drag this talk out much more. I'll simply say that we need to kind of get away from this idea that software should be free or cheap, or like we need to start understanding the value of software. And honestly, I don't really have a really good solution for how to achieve this. But I do believe that I think that the way forward is what Netflix is doing. It's what Spotify is doing. I think that this entire discussion of piracy and, you know, all of this good stuff can be solved by subscriptions. And it's actually one of the reasons why I think it's so interesting to work at my services where I work today, which is basically a way to optimize subscriptions, because we are in many ways actually moving towards a business model for at least software and many other things as well, where people are more and more willing, like you're willing to pay a small amount of a monthly small fee for a service or something like that. and that's much more accessible to people. I mean, Netflix, I mean, we could in theory go and pirate all their movies, but at least I don't, like, because Netflix makes things so accessible, so I'm willing to pay that small fee every month to, you know, to have access to the benefit and the convenience that that service provides to me. And I think that's the way we should move forward. I think that the future for software is subscription-based payment plans. And this may not be news, but I think that we need to completely forget about this idea that we had a few, like 10 years ago, the Microsoft and what we did a while back, where you basically had a single release, or like one piece of software, you built it, you shipped it like any other product, and then customers paid to download it and all that stuff. You know, the whole piracy discussion all over again. I think that's completely going to die. It's going to have to die off. I don't see any future for it. But subscription-based services, absolutely. I think that's probably the way forward.